Hi, welcome back, everybody, for a new episode of Dollar Bin Digging. This is the video and article that I do for comicbookinvest.com, where I talk about those books that are still probably tucked away in those cheap boxes, those dollar bins, those discount boxes, wherever you're finding your cheap comics, whether it be at your LCS, at a flea market, at half-price books, yard sales, wherever. These are those books that are probably still buried out there in those discount bins that you can still find based off of some of the recent news, rumors, announcements, things going on in the comics, etc. I know you probably figured that it being May the 4th, that I'd probably do a Star Wars themed episode, but I didn't feel like doing that today. There just wasn't enough Star Wars that I could tell you to go find the dollar bins, because a lot of that Star Wars stuff has gotten picked up over the last couple of years with all the Star Wars craze, I guess, with the speculation. And with that said, I do have a selection of books for you. Some of them are in the stars, just not Star Wars. And if you want to see what books I have for you, all you got to do is hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back. All right, so starting us off, as I said, we are going out into space, but not Star Wars space, but the Marvel Universe. And here we're seeing that the Silver Surfer reportedly won't appear in the Fantastic Four film, but Galactus may have a different herald. Again, this is all speculation. This is all rumor. We don't know exactly what's going on. We know there seem to be casting the Fantastic Four movie. Maybe Galactus will be the villain. I still think he's a bit bigger than just the Fantastic Four, but we'll see how this all shakes out. That said, I do like the idea of the Herald being someone other than Norrin Rod. I know I say Rod. I think it's pronounced Rad, but that just seems too surfery. Even though he is a Silver Surfer, it seems a little too on the nose for me. That said, a lot of speculation is looking at Terrax as being the herald in question here, which, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. He is one of those big bad type heralds that Galactus has had over the years, but you're not going to be finding Terrax's first appearance in those dollar bins. Unfortunately, the book's been around for a while, and it's already kind of priced out of that range where most people will pull this Fantastic Four 211 there. And Terrax is right there on the front of the book. But if you want to see him inside, here is him as he becomes the Herald of Galactus. Again, not going to give you pricing on this because the chances of you finding Fantastic Four 211 are pretty slim. But I wanted to let you know about the book anyway, just for informational purposes. I got a couple more Heralds I'm going to do the same for. These are things you're probably not going to find, so I'm not going to give you the price rundown. But if you want to look for them, there's nothing wrong in keeping them in mind and knowing these books in case you go out there digging. That said, if it's not Terrax, who else could it be? Well, another potential non-surfer is Airwalker, and kind of a forgotten about Herald of Galactus. And as you can see, he walks on air, so that's his thing. And he goes back a little bit further to Fantastic Four number 120. And there he is right there on the front. You see Airwalker down below, so he's publicized right there on the cover. But still, you want to see him in the guts of the book. I grabbed a panel of him showing up in there as well. Once again, a book that's kind of pricey these days. I mean, we're talking these are even lower grades are hitting $20 and $30. So you're not going to find these most likely in a dollar bin. Keep looking. Obviously, again, keep looking. Maybe you find a banged up copy and you can find one for super duper cheap. But chances are slim. So I'm just giving you the information just so you know it. One more that I think is a good potential as a possible herald, but another book you're probably not finding in a dollar bin is Firelord. Another herald that I remember from back in the day. I'm a big surfer guy. I remember reading the surfer title back there in the 80s, and we did meet a couple of these other heralds throughout that time with some of these, the Herald Ordeal and whatnot. But Firelord is another potential, but he also has a first that is pretty well known. He's right there on the cover. Thor this time, Thor 225. This is another book that is not cheap. This is again like in that $30 to kind of $40 range on an average. So and some higher copies and some lower copies as well, depending on grade. But here you go. Here we go. These Firelords showing up. But I just wanted you to know those. That said, real deal potentials, maybe not potentials that are going to be in the movie, but potentials of books that you might be able to find for cheap. I got some more heralds for you that you can go and grab if you were interested. Now, another good possibility, as she is on the thumbnail, is the female herald of Galactus, Nova. Not Sam Alexander, not Richard Rider, not part of the Nova Corps at all. Nova, the Herald of Galactus. Now, Nova was Frankie Raye. We actually seen Frankie in the Rise of the Silver Surfer movie. I think they might have been teasing something bigger coming her way in that movie, but we never got continuation after that Fantastic Four. So reboots, and they already rebooted that, and that one didn't failed, and now we got another one coming our way. That said, Frankie Raye actually first appeared way back in this Fantastic Four 164 as just the character of Frankie Raye, who's going out with Johnny Storm at the time with his super sweet, stylings there. Check out that shirt. I mean, that's a pretty sweet shirt. But there she is. She's inside. You get kind of like an MJ vibe here, but that's her as Frankie Raye. She doesn't actually become the Herald of Galactus until much, much later. I mean, this is issue 164. It takes all the way until Fantastic Four issue 244 before she becomes the new Heralds of Galactus. And there she is right there on the front cover as well. I always would find these in dollar bins and would grab them every time just because the cover, I like it. And two, I like the character. I like the character from when I was younger. So I would always grab this. But here she is inside, becoming the new Herald of Galactus. There we go, Nova. Similar look to Firelord, but obviously, female, but pretty cool. And this is a book, like I said, you could probably still go and dig out of those boxes. Finally getting to some prices here for you. Recent sales for this book, you see it's about $5. Best offer on 15. Not super duper expensive. Asking prices anywhere in that $9 to kind of $12 range are a lot of the averages. You can find, again, some cheaper, some a little bit more expensive if they're in higher grade. But by and large, this is not a pricey book, but one that could be fun and one that you could probably find out there if you go out there digging. So good luck. I don't think there's any harm in getting it because, again, she is female Herald of Galactus. There aren't many. So if they decide to give us more than one, especially over time, there's a good chance she'll be one of them at some point. Now, if we want to go again back to the bad side of things, going down that Terrax angle, then we can also go with the character of Morg, Morg the Executioner. He showed up in Silver Surfer 69 as the character. I'm giving you this one because this is by and large the one everybody points to as the first Morg. He doesn't become Galactus's Herald yet. That doesn't happen until an issue or two later. I don't know if it was in 70 or 71 because this is, again, kind of a longer game, a longer play storyline here, tying into Infinity War. But he shows up here in the very end of 69 as this Executioner character. Again, well before he becomes the Herald. But still, this is the one a lot of online resources point to as his first. I know it's inconsistent with the whole cameo versus first full. Not getting into those discussions. I'm just showing you this book because I think you can go and find this one out there if you go digging. Look for 70 and 71 as well. Get the whole storyline. But 69 is the one we're looking at right now. And you can see best offer on $3.67. $8.50 with 2 bids. Got you those other issues that I mentioned. So you got 3 issues for only $8.50. Pretty cheap, even online. Asking prices again, $3.50, $8 for a lot of 3. That's 68 through 70, and then you got $18 for a 69 and 70, with one of them being a newsstand. And everybody loves paying a little extra for those newsstands these days. But once again, just another book to keep an eye out for. You never know where they're going to go with this, this Herald angle. If this is even what we're getting, again, pure fun, pure speculation. Just looking for some books here. We're gonna get into the more obscure ones. This is the time when I read Surfer. This is the time I knew my stuff about Surfer and Galactus, etc. Some of these other ones I'm gonna get to you have been over the last couple of decades, and I don't know a whole heck of a lot about them. So bear with me, but I'm gonna tell you about them anyway, because it doesn't hurt to go and look for Redshift. Not the greatest name. Not the greatest name. I also don't understand the look either. He's got a sword. He's kind of flying there. Well, Redshift was Galactus's Herald in this run of Galactus the Devourer. This is like a 6-issue mini. Giant size special for that first issue. You can see Surfer facing off right there, but Redshift was his guy in this one. So I get it. Yeah, the art here in the middle ain't that great. It's not that great, but there's your Redshift. Galactus, he hungers. This is where you're getting that first appearance if they decide to go this way with their Herald. This is a book that you can also find out there. I mean, 26 kind of bucks will get you the whole mini series there, 1 through 6. Individually, you can get either auction $12.50 and then a lot of 2 for only $5. So a little inconsistent on the pricing, but still not expensive. $5 to $10. Ain't that bad. But keep an eye out for it for $1. That's what I'm telling you. $1, $2. Those cheap boxes, that's what I'm talking about. So there's little to no risk on your part. If you find this, go digging, look for it for fun. And if you buy it and nothing comes of this, you're not out a whole bunch of money. It's just for fun, just for just a pure love of this hobby. Like, just let's read some books, let's enjoy some stories, and let's just have fun digging for comic books. That said, asking prices on this guy about the same. See, $5 to $10. It's $5 to $10 online. It's not going to make you rich if you find this. $40 if you can find the whole miniseries, 6 issues. So yeah, it doesn't hurt. If you find them in dollar boxes, you get 6 for $6. Maybe you can get 40 out of it. If that's what your decision is to do and you're trying to flip them, go ahead. I mean, I'm not going to judge you. Another one we could keep an eye out for is Stardust. This looks to me more like a Green Lantern type character, but here we go. It's a newer one, Stardust. This was the Herald of Galactus, not even in Surfer's title. This is in Stormbreaker, the Saga of Beta Ray Bill. This is a fun miniseries to look for on its own anyway, because a lot of people like Beta Ray Bill. But from the pages of The Mighty Thor Disassembled, keep an eye out for this mini, especially this issue 1, especially if you want to find that first appearance of Stardust, who, here you can see here, it's almost like a glowy sea fish character, and Galactus also isn't looking like Galactus here, but there we go. There's your first appearance inside in the guts of the book. What is this? This one actually does all right. So here are the prices for you. If you're curious of what this sells for, we're looking at about $10. Well, one actually sells for only $2.50. But it did have like $20 plus shipping out of the UK. So if it's a US buyer, they actually did pay a pretty penny for that. But about $10 or so is what individual copies would sell for. And then you can see there the whole Stormbreaker mini for $40. It's kind of like that Devourer set. So similarly priced there. Individually, you can find copies asking for issue 1 anywhere from like $12 to kind of like $20. That seems to be the going rate of what people are asking for over there on eBay. Now, some other online sites like to point towards this last one as a good possibility, and sure, it might happen. There's not a lot of history here for this character. Character's relatively new. They can do a lot. They can make up the story as they go, since, again, there's not a lot of history to work with. And the one I'm talking about here is the Fallen One. So there we go. Fallen One. This you can find in not the recent run of Thanos, but Thanos back in 2004. Thanos number 11 in particular. Part 5 of the Samaritan storyline. Ron Lim doing the art, classic surfer artist, and inside you can see here the Fallen One. There he's in it for a bit more than just this, but this is his first panel showing up in the book. You can find this one still out there too. Go digging for this. Copies are selling for around $10, like individually. And look, there was a 9.4 that sold for $50, just for reference sake. Asking prices $15 to $20. So you might make a few bucks if you can find this one, but just keep an eye out for it. Doesn't hurt. And with that, that's a rundown of a whole bunch of Heralds you can go and dig for if you're down on that angle for the Fantastic Four movie. Or if you just like, the story of Galactus and you want to grab these other Heralds, go ahead. Here's some options for you. So go digging. Good luck. Let me know if you find any. Tag me on Instagram. I'd love to see it if you guys find any. That said, let's move on into our news and see what else we got for this week. We did get another little bit of a character returning to the Deadpool universe. In Deadpool 3, we look to be getting Peter back. I know a lot of people have guessed that this could be Pete Wisdom. I don't think they ever actually gave us his last name in the movie, and the character doesn't actually come off as being like Pete Wisdom from the comics, but if it is Pete Wisdom, it'd be kind of fun, different take, as long as they reveal that he was pretending to be this goofy guy, because that's not the Pete Wisdom from the comics. I like the Pete Wisdom from the comics, and just for fun, we're going to go back to that, because I think like Captain Britain and the MI-13 is, once again, just a great thing that they could adapt. I think it would make for a really fun Disney Plus type show. We got the Black Knight, you got Captain Britain, you could work Blade into it. Characters we're getting in the movies. It would be a fun series, including Pete Wisdom. Now, he first showed up way back in Excalibur number 86. This book has been talked about and spec'd on already before. It's come around on the cycle, and right now, nobody cares. So this is back in those dollar boxes and those cheap bins, and you could find it there once again. And this is where you're going to get your first appearance of, Pete Wisdom. So what does this go for currently? Like I said, it's not on the minds of many, so don't be surprised that this is only going to get you $1 to $3 sold, even online. Yep, that's it. Poor Pete Wisdom. Asking prices $3, $5, $6. Again, not a pricey book anymore. I mean, granted, even at its height, this was only like a $15 to $20 type of book, but still, $3. Sad days for poor Pete Wisdom. But doesn't mean you can't go grab a fun first appearance, in my opinion, for cheap. So keep an eye out for it. Go ahead and grab it. What else do I got for you? We're going to go away from Marvel for a bit. We're going to shift on over to DC for a second and hit up Green Arrow, which reunites Arsenal, Roy Harper there, with his long-lost daughter. And I know the current storylines are going to get massive twists. I think he gets a new costume, etc. But this just brought me back to the idea of his daughter, being reunited with him. So let's look into that. She's been around a while. So Leanne Harper is the daughter of Roy Harper and the villain Cheshire. I don't know if you remember Cheshire from way back in the old Teen Titans type of days. But she first showed up back in 1984, I think it was, in this era of the new Teen Titans. Not that first run of the comics, but like volume 2. And not really loving this cover all that much, but I always remember seeing this run of Teen Titans and going, I don't really need to collect this one. But there's still some fun stories in here. So don't let the, art deter you, as it did me from back in the day. But inside this book, if you like Baby Spec, we get introduced to little Leanne there in the guts of this story. Somehow that red still came through despite Cheshire's, stark black hair and darker complexion like mine. Somehow that red came through on the hair. That said, there was her first appearance, I believe, as a baby in this issue of New Teen Titans 21. And this is, again, a book that I couldn't even find any individual sales for this. Nobody's looking for this stuff. So, again, I'm telling you about it just kind of for fun and give you something to go dig for, just for, like I said, just a little fun, little activity for you to do. You're not going to make a ton of money. I'm not giving you a book that's going to make you rich. You find this in a dollar bin, you're not going to get rich because, look, nobody's even buying them right now. And the ones you can find online, they only want like $3 for this. So you're not going to get rich, but maybe you'll get a few smiles and maybe you'll get a fun little book that ties into stuff that's going on in the comic books right now. We're going to do another one. We got another DC book for you, I believe. So I'm going to shift on over to Robin. Tim Drake Robin. Third Robin. Probably my favorite Rob. This is the Robin I really enjoyed when I was a younger reader myself, like in the 90s. Tim Drake was the Robin. I liked him. I liked the character. I liked the whole idea of him that he figured out Batman. That's how he became Robin. I like that. Better than getting caught stealing tires. Better than having the same exact origin as Batman. I don't know. I get it. No, don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan of Dick Grayson. Jason Todd's got his place too, but I always had a soft spot for Tim Drake. That said, his new sidekick may have just been murdered. So, not currently reading a lot of this current DC stuff with the Tim Drake stuff, but apparently some shenanigans are going on. I didn't even know he had a sidekick, but apparently he had a sidekick, and this sidekick goes by the name of Sparrow, and her real name was Darcy Thomas, and she first showed up in Future State. Yeah, you remember Future State? That whole initiative by DC to kind of give us new heroes, etc. And then they just kind of abandoned it as quickly as they threw it on us. They threw it away. That said, Future State Robin Eternal #1 is where we first get introduced to its eventual sidekick for Robin, Darcy. So there, she even gets suited up in this issue too. Like she shows up, pages and panels before this as just like a normal character, like a receptionist of some sort, or working at a desk. Anyway, she's already suited up and she's helping out Robin in this book right from the get-go. Again, Future State, this stuff is in those overstock discount bins that nobody cares about, nobody's digging for them. So go and dig. You can maybe find either this is the cover A, there's a B cover that's like sells for like $5. There's a second print that has one of those design covers. I'll look for that, sold for $1. This only sells for like $4, and this is not an expensive book. As I said, it's a fun little first that you can go and dig out there for cheap though. And asking prices, again, you can see $3 to $4. It's basically cover price or less for either the A and B cover. And then look at that. A 9.8 is asking only $22.49. I think, at least at today's CGC rates, it costs more, even without counting the shipping, just to grade this book than this person is asking for 9.8. Just saying. And with that, I got one more topic for you. Again, just to be a quick one. Sorry, it's a quick little week, but I got a lot to do, and I got a lot to do on this upcoming weekend, so I had to make this kind of short. And this also might be running a little bit late because I'm filming this Thursday at like 8 o'clock, and I said this would be dropping by 9, but I still got to edit this thing after I'm done, so this might hit more around 10. but I'll try to join you guys in the live chat if I can. That said, our last topic and our last story goes back to one of my favorite topics. The artist here, Doctor Who. So Doctor Who, we know Tennant is coming back for the 60th anniversary special. He's going to be the Doctor for a short while before we get our new Doctor. Fun little interim, little interlude, if you will. But going back to the 10th Doctor, he was always my favorite Doctor. From the time that I wasn't an old school Doctor Who watcher. I watched with the reboots and stuff. And I think when I first started watching, Matt Smith was actually taking on the role. And then I watched a couple episodes. I liked it and decided, you know what? I'm going to go back. So I went back and started with Eccleston and went through the Tennant run and caught up to Matt Smith and then, followed through since then. Though I did fall off a little bit with Jodie Whittaker just because just not enough time, and I just wasn't loving the vibe of the show. I mean, they changed, showrunners, so the tone of the show had a little bit different vibe, and just something about her running around calling everybody fam. I don't like it when people say fam. I don't know. I don't like it. But that said, personal thing, I guess. Tenet. So with the comics, while there were a couple of old school appearances, you got the Tom Baker showing up in like Marvel, etc. With the comics, there wasn't a lot for a while until IDW came along. And in, I think, like 2008, these were the first US-made comics, I believe, for Doctor Who. So again, Doctor Who is a British product, so they've had things overseas that you might have been able to get a hold of. But US first kind of like printed here and made here kind of thing to give us still this character. It was 2008 with this run. From IDW, and there are photo covers to go along, I believe, with most, if not all of these. This is a 6-issue run for this volume. This is, I think, like his 3rd season thereabouts, because I mean, he did, or maybe it was his 2nd. I can't remember because he had gone Rose and moved on, and then he had. Anyway, we're not going to get into all that. We're not going to get into the whole thing, but it's before Donna, and six issues for this series. Keep an eye out for all of them. Here's a couple more examples. There's issue 3 and issue 6 bookending there, just to give you an idea of what you're looking at. And price-wise, it's not going to make you rich, but it's still a fun little thing you can dig out. Look, individual copies can sell as cheap as $1, or it could be like $10 or $13. Those are both for number ones down below. Actually, they're all for number ones. I don't know what that Virgin Art one is, but that one only sold for $1. And the other ones were like $10, $13. Not too bad. Asking prices, again, you can see here, like $13 to $10. And you're getting like lots and partial lots, like 2 issues here, 3 issues there. And this is the kind of thing I know that could be tough, especially with some of these IDW, and it's not quite Dynamite, but even IDW at that time, like there could have been multiple covers, and it gets a little confusing when you're digging through a box. You don't know if you had this already. And then especially with the Doctor Who, because there was a time when they were given basically every Doctor was getting their own series. So then you have like issue 2 of Doctor Who, but it's like 9 different issue 2s because you have the first, you had like copies from the 1st Doctor, the 10th Doctor, the 9th Doctor, the 12th Doctor. You get what I'm saying. If you watch Doctor Who, you get what I'm saying. But that all said, just keep an eye out for these. Doesn't hurt, right? Just kind of for fun, too. And with that, that's all I got for you this week. Hopefully you enjoy that. Hopefully you found that kind of helpful. Hopefully I gave you a couple of things you can go and to look for when you go out and dig into those boxes. This upcoming weekend is con season, so you're going to be hitting up conventions. You're going to be hitting up shows. A lot of this stuff, just like I said, even though it may not be worth $1, like some of the stuff I gave you is really, really cheap, but even some of the stuff that sells for like $10 to $15, like a lot of like dealers and whatnot might not bother pulling a book. Like to them, it's just not worth the effort. So they're going through, they're pulling the big books, and stuff like this slips through the cracks. So you can maybe find yourself some $10 to $15 books for $1. So go digging, have some fun, and hopefully you enjoy that, like I said. And I'll be back soon with some more content. I got to film my top 10 and 10 for members, and then everybody else can see it tomorrow. And then make sure you come back tomorrow for the live Mail Call Madness with Jedi, Dom, and Styx. Saturday night special on Saturday. We'll also be live here on the channel. Star Wars on Sunday. Since it's May the 4th, we will have the Star Wars show this Sunday. We'll be talking about Visions, which I'm going to try to watch tonight as well, among other things, because there's like 8 comics that came out this week. So we got a nice big show, a lot of Star Wars content coming for you on Sunday. And then the week will start over, and I'll have Hidden Gems, Chasing Ghosts, more Dollar Bin Digging, the Tax Show on Wednesday, etc. So tons of content coming your way, and shorts hitting every day at noon. And with that, I'll see you guys later with some more content. All right, bye.